Hello, everyone. This is Noreen Chase, Community Manager for the Social Biz User Group. I have with me today Louis Richardson, a storyteller and enthusiast from IBM. Louis will be the keynote speaker at the New Way to Work tour starting in June. So we decided to pick his brain a little bit about what the New Way to Work means. Louis, there's been a lot of talk about IBM's New Way to Work. What does a new way to work mean to you?
Well, I think it's interesting that I've been in the workplace probably for 40 years now, and during the course of time, we've had faster ways of work, and we've had improved ways of working, and we've done things differently. I think in all those cases, we've tried to work smarter or something, but I think now we've actually taken and torn this down and looked at what are we actually trying to do here in our workplace, and what might we do in order to redesign everything. So a new way to work is basically taking all the things that we've done in the past and setting them aside for a moment and not letting them hinder our judgment or our design, and going at this from a totally fresh perspective and saying, what is it we're trying to do, and then how would we design a user experience, a way to work around the things that each of us want to get done during the day. For me, personally, it means I get to do the things I love to do, things I enjoy to do, the things I feel like I'm meant to do, the things that are productive, and it allows me to kind of get past those things that are merely interruptions and things that sometimes confuse us.
I see. So what market trends and or technological shifts do you see happening that are contributing to this new way to work?
I think the shifts that we're seeing all align with behaviors and what we're expecting. So if you go back to us as individuals, as workers, Daniel Pink has in a book called New Mind, he talks about moving from an information age to a conceptual age of work. And in the information age of work, we were good with binary things. Things were right or wrong, black or white. Change was difficult, and we focused on things. And this conceptual age that we're in now allows us to be more fluid, allows us to empathize and think about stories, and we also, change for us is kind of accepted. We kind of get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what's happened is, if you look at what IBM is focused on, the things we're focused on, we as individuals want things to be easy. We want things to be fast and efficient and effective and available to us, and that brought about cloud. We know there's a lot of information out there, information that we can leverage, questions that have been answered already. There's a lot of data, and so we want that empowered to us. So that brought about analytics. And we're everywhere. We work wherever we are, whenever we want to.
Right.
We have insights in the middle of so mobility is a reason. We want to be bigger than just ourselves, so social is an issue. And then we also want to be able to have this be trusted, so security. So if you look at the IBM CAMS initiative, those are the things that have happened, but those things aren't happening just because the technology is now available. It's happening because that's what we're demanding to have happen. That's what we require to work. We require for it to be easy, to be rich and available anywhere, and we want to avoid those questions that have already been answered. For instance, we want to use analytics to empower our day. So all those things together have brought us to the point where we actually can design this new way of working.
That's really interesting. What factors do you see that prohibit organizations from finding and implementing a new way to work?
Yeah, I have the opportunity of doing this around the world, so I get a variety of cultures and untold numbers of industries, and I've sat across from some people who are very opposed to some of these ideas, and some people are very excited about some of these ideas. And I think if I were just to boil down, the one factor that probably is most prevalent is fear.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, it's an unwarranted fear, but it's just a fear. There's a fear of change. There's a fear of disruption. There's some people have an unwarranted fear that by sharing their knowledge, they're going to lose power or lose influence. I've had people tell me, I'm valued by what I know, and if I were to share all that and make that all available to people, then what good am I? And for people, I have to suggest that part of answering the questions is learning new learning new questions and learning new answers, and we're in a constant state of learning. And the people who have that information, the people who are empowered by having the information, they actually amplify it by using new ways of work, and they can get more out of their own existence and what they're doing. It allows them to go off and find new things to do as well. So most of the fears that we have in organizations are unwarranted, and I guess the thing that we've identified, or thing that we've seen a lot, is sometimes in the area like middle management sometimes becomes a fearful place, because this new way of working requires a transparency and requires an ability to communicate and have a voice throughout the organization, such that managers in their role of measuring and monitoring, they would spend a lot of time collecting what people are doing and packaging that in a way that they could serve that up the chain to kind of show that the thing was working. And now with systems, this new way of working, people anywhere in the organization can look and see how people are doing and how they're working and what's progressing or not, see the status of things. And so the managers now have the opportunity of going back to their role of mentoring and actually helping people work better rather than just measuring and monitoring. But that change, that disruption, is often a fear because we've grown comfortable with just doing things the way we've done them in the past.
I love what you said about culture. Does culture drive change in an organization, or does technology force the change, and do cultures have to adapt accordingly?
Yeah, I've tried to think of analogies to kind of play with culture and technology, and I'm not come up with a good one yet. Maybe somebody who's listening can suggest something to me. But they both have to happen, but there is an order. See organizations where they look at this as a technology answer and they put it in place. And so now the people are now enabled technology-wise to do this new way of working or this new social behavior. What happens most often is, without an understanding, people look at this as yet their application, yet something else they have to do. And they're very resistant to that because we're all in a time crunch, way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so the technology comes first, and then you try to say, we've got this thing or these things, and now we want you to work differently. It becomes kind of we've done this, now you've got to use it. And that doesn't work. That's not good for driving culture. In fact,
no.
That's sometimes counterproductive, right?
Exactly.
The other thing that happens is if you get the culture right, if you say what you believe, which if I look at I spend a lot of time looking at people's annual reports and their prospectus and their advertisements, and most companies will say things like, our people are our most important asset we have. But if you truly believe that, and you start to announce, okay, every one of you in my organization, everyone in my company, I respect you as an individual. I respect your opinion. I respect your perspective. I respect what you have to say about what we're doing. I think we need to leverage this knowledge across the entire organization. If I were to tell you that, and I were to give you that culture shift, and then not the technology to allow you to do it, then it's unbelievable. Because if I say, I want to hear from you, and then I don't give you a way to actually talk to me, then my messages are void, right?
Right.
So it's a 1-2 kind of punch, or hand in glove, or whatever you call it. I think culture leads and technology enables, and that's the way it works. Because if technology leads, it's not going to work.
So what does the vast amount of data companies now have access to allow them to do what they couldn't do in the past? Are there things you've seen an organization do that are truly novel and useful but wouldn't have necessarily been obvious even 5 years ago?
I think it's amazing, and I'm amazed on a daily basis of how we within IBM and how our customers are actually leveraging information. And I don't want to call it knowledge because it's just information. When we actually take it, do something with it, that's where we get the knowledge from. And I spent decades in quote-unquote knowledge management. So so it's not a matter of managing knowledge, it's a matter of enabling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we look at data that's out there, we can begin answering questions that were hard to answer in the past. For instance, who's the smartest person in your organization? That's a hard question for most companies to answer, especially a question to answer a company any size. And what they can do is they can start shifting around and saying, well, what do you mean by smart? And they begin to think about research and development, or they begin to think about some of the people who are leading some of their initiatives. But in reality, if you look at smart as who's clever, who's influential, who actually is very good at helping other people answer questions for them on a daily basis, those kind of things are very hard to identify. Now, if you actually work smart or work in this new way of working, you can actually, through analytics and through things in the background, you can actually see who are the influential people in your organization, who are the go-to people, who are the people who actually work in a way that's very smart and very productive, and how do we actually leverage that as a best case scenario. In the past, we've had to do a lot of observing of people and a lot of observing of behavior. And now, because we're connected and everyone's work is being done digitally and people are beginning to answer questions and work out loud, the analytics and stuff that's behind there are allowing us to do things like predict who are the people in the organization that are the connectors. I myself know, for instance, Ed inside of IBM. Ed Brill is a respected individual because of his knowledge, as well as he's got a broad connection of network. He's got a huge network.
Right.
I know, for instance, that if I want to get something amplified within IBM, I need to get Ed Brill's attention. And if I can get Brill to weigh in on the conversation or make a comment, then I know now that his network is now available to see this. So that kind of access to the data and to the people that are out there, I think, are allowing us to do things that we would have only imagined in the past. I mean, we would have tried to do things with emails and distribution lists, and we tried things with repositories for storing files and access controls, and all those things we tried to do in the past actually have failed us, and we're now at a point where we actually take this, the capabilities that are here, and redesign the way we work in such a way that we can amplify our knowledge, we can find answers to questions immediately. We can do this anywhere and everywhere that we are, and make our work life, almost a balance. It's not a balance. I just posted something about a juggling act. It's like juggling, eggs and rubber balls. There's some things you don't want to drop, and some things you can drop and they'll bounce. And the reality is to know where the eggs and where the rubber balls are. And one of the great things about this new way of working with the analytics that are out there is, and for instance, with IBM Verse, with the introduction of IBM Verse, one of the things that's being done there is it's helping you identify as you're juggling, where are the eggs, which ones can you not drop,
right?
And helping you not have to treat everything like an egg, because everything's in motion. You can't drop anything because you can't tell what's what. Now this can actually say, here's the things that are important to you. Here's the people that's important, conversations, and these other things, the rubber balls, they'll bounce, and somebody else might pick them up, and that type of thing. So that, I think, is a result of the data, the analytics, and our ability to leverage and harness these things that have in the past just kind of gone unnoticed and sat around in inboxes unnoticed and just dying. We're now able to leverage and harvest all that.
Well, this has been really fascinating, Louis, but it looks like this is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining me and talking about this new way to work.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we'd like to thank everyone for listening. If you'd like more information on this topic, check out the New Way to Work tour coming to a city near you starting on June 23rd. The New Way to Work tour is a half-day event for those in marketing, finance, and analytic roles. Check out the webpage and community information in the section below this recording. Thanks, everyone.